Here we go. All right, I see. All right, I think we're recording.
Yep.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Kim. I run the Pass It On sale, and I'm here with some of my team leads tonight. And we're gonna just give you a little session of getting to know us, because you'll see us all around the sale when you come to drop off your stuff or shop the sale or whenever. So I thought I'd give you a little session of get to know the team leads. So I've got Michelle and Stephanie and Karen all here with me, and we are gonna go through some random questions, and it'll be fun. Thanks for showing up, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, so my first question, I had this vision. I was gonna do all this in person, and it was gonna be so much fun. We would sit around and eat ice cream or pizza or coffee or whatever, and everybody would, that was 2 years ago. And then anyway, so I'm bringing it now online. We're gonna do this tonight. And then we'll hopefully do them every week up until drop off, I think. Or
That'll be fun.
all through September, right?
I can't wait to watch the other ones. This is going to be funny. I like it.
I appreciate you guys being the guinea pigs. All right, so the first question is, when was the first sale you ever consigned, and what do you remember about it? Who wants to go?
I don't remember because my kids were young and I blocked out that part of my life.
I remember the very first sale I went to, my son, he turns 8 on Saturday, so in 2 days. So my first sale, he was like 6 weeks old.
Oh, you found us early.
Yes. And I went to the sale to shop because I heard of it. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I'm like, oh, wow, I should have bought my stuff here, because I forked over a lot of money to Babies R Us and everywhere else. And
most people do.
What?
Like most people do, I think.
Yeah, the first kid, for sure.
Yeah, first kid. And then I'm like, how do I know? And I found out about, the volunteering and getting into the pre-sale. So, and of course, as a new mom, you don't have a lot of stuff to consign. So I was just scrounging to get enough. And I wasn't expecting to sell anything. I just wanted to get enough into the sale so I could get into the pre-sale. That was it. Like getting into the pre-sale was, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have to fight these lines. Okay.
You figured that out early. Good for you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I think mine were, well, my older one is 13 now and taller than me by about 3 inches. And the younger one's 11. And I'm pretty sure Lilu was like 4. And I just shopped, as I recall, because I wasn't able to get time off from watching the kids to be able to volunteer until like the 2nd year or whatever. And I didn't have anything much to consign either, but I was just astounded by all the deals. It was really, really crazy. And now I never miss one.
I don't think, yeah, since you've started, I can't imagine you missing one.
See, I have an 18-year-old, and I remember consigning. It was at the Armory.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And the very first sale that I did, I got all of my stuff ready and I dropped it off. And then being a new mom, I totally spaced pickup. And I got a call from Kim, or maybe an email saying, we did all this work to sort everything out and you didn't show up, and you can't do this ever again or you'll get fined. And I was so upset because I lost all the stuff that I didn't sell, because it all got donated. Aww. And so then it was several years before I, took the leap again to do it, because it was like, oh no, I messed up so bad the first time.
Was it one of those?
We didn't make you feel bad. It was just like you felt like you lost all your stuff.
Yeah, because it's like, you have an infant, you don't have a whole lot anyways. And so it's like the stuff that you don't need for the baby anymore. And it was just like, oh man. And then it was years later before I spotted it again. And it was on Walker Road. And that's when I started volunteering, was when it was on Walker Road, and did it there. Because it was like just doors away from where I was working. So.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, we have to move around because we have to go wherever we can find an empty building.
I think people ask about that. Be like, well, how come they don't just have a building? And I said, well, how much do you want to pay? Because if you want to lease a building like that year round, we're talking about, what is it, $25,000 a month?
Some of them are 30.
Mm-hmm. Well, and see, some of those shops that are like the children's consignment shops, I tried that after the sale, and it was like, I got so little from that
Yeah.
that it was like, no, it's not worth my time to try and sell it that way. I'd much rather wait for the sale and get a lot
Right.
more for my stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, that's why consignment shops, I mean, they're great and all, but they have to pay people
Mhm.
and rent. And I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I never shop pretty much anywhere else except for, I have to get stuff for uniforms for the kids. So I buy those, but we actually have a ironically, I'm in charge of it, the used uniform sale for school, where people bring back their older uniforms that are gently used. And I organize that sale.
You know, I tried to do
for
one of those.
school.
I tried to do it. When we had to work around. Remember the Halloween store came into the Hagen,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I couldn't go back there in the fall, and so I decided I had this brilliant idea. We're going to do an August sale and a November sale around the Halloween store. So that year, the August sale, we tried to do like back to school uniforms and stuff, because I didn't know. I had other people asking me if I would do it too. Another school was like, we're tired of doing our uniform sale. Can you do it?
Well, our
Yours
ones,
probably has
those-
specific stuff they have to wear, right? Does it have
yes,
the
we
logo
have
on it?
specific uniforms. It doesn't all have the logo, but the funds go directly back to the Parent Teacher Association, which I'm on the board of. So yeah.
Right, y'all. Second question, first sale you ever volunteered at? I think some of you may have even covered this already. And why did you decide to help out? What made you volunteer the first time?
The first time I
Yeah.
volunteered was because I wanted a higher consignment rating. And I think I was doing sort. And it was so much fun because I was like pushing the clothing rack around and collecting from each of the aisles and shuffling it around. And I was like, yeah, this is really easy.
I don't think everybody thinks sort is fun. I'm glad somebody likes it.
I like anything that involves organizing. Like it just makes me happy. So,
See, and I love working the register. I retail is my favorite thing, but I hate stocking shelves and I hate sorting. Yeah, I don't like that at all, but I love working the register, being able to talk to all the people and see all the stuff, which has got a good side to it because you get to see all this amazing stuff and you get really great ideas. And some people, like they have it hung a particular way and you're like, why did I never think about that? But then I'm like, oh, are there more of those? Because Kim, when is my break?
I saw a game come through as cashier that I had been looking for, and it was in packaging I wasn't familiar with. And so I had missed it when I went looking for it. And then she came and bought it. And I'm like, oh, where was it?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a
I'm
problem.
sorry, you can't buy that.
No.
You guys, I almost cried one time. There were these baskets that go on the stairs, they're kind of like shaped like this, that go up one side and across to put on your stairs. There were two of them, and I was like thinking I had been thinking I needed one of those, and I saw them at the sale and I picked them up and I walked around with them. Somebody distracted me. I put them down. I went around and did some other stuff. Then I saw somebody checking out with them and I just started crying, and I went into the office and I was like, obviously they needed them. I mean, somebody else wanted them. It was just like, oh, I can't believe I did that.
Yes. So the lesson, folks, go take it to the hold desk.
Take it to somewhere and put your name on it.
Take it to the hold desk.
All right, you skipped ahead, Michelle. My third question was your favorite job at the sale and why. And I know we always see Michelle at the registers. Everybody knows to look for the rainbow hair. Michelle will check you out over here.
Come check me out. I'll check you out. What a screaming deal. No, actually, I didn't mention this, but the other really super fun part about working on the cashier or the register is, sometimes, especially for new shoppers, be like, okay, how much do you think you're going to spend? Right. And they see the prices, so they should be able to have a pretty good ballpark, and everybody always guesses way higher than they end up paying.
That's a fun game.
It is. And so you get all these people like, well, it's probably going to be like $250 or something. And I'm like, child, you are under $100. And they're like, what? Like, what? And yeah,
They're sitting there with their cash and they're like trying to like, how much do I need to give you? And you're like, I don't need it. I need half of that. And they're like, what?
Yeah,
I only
that's
spent half
awesome.
of what I brought.
Well, I mean, because that's the fun part for me for retail, and that I've always liked when I was working at a register at Zupan's or whatever, is, there's a when people get a deal, there's a particular happiness about that, especially if things are a little tight, especially then. But and then every once in a while I get a chance to tell my story about my first sale that I shopped at. I came back with, I'm pretty sure, like $400 worth of stuff. I spent like $400, but we were set, and I had two, right? And my husband was like, "You spent how much?" And he got all hot under the collar about it. He was so upset. And I took my itemized receipt and I was like, you take this receipt and you go to Fred Meyer or anywhere you want, and you try to buy any of this. And tell me what you go do that right now, because I'm not going to have this fight with you. Because he was mad. He was angry. I mean,
Like
he
you spent
blew
$300
that
or
much money on the
$400?
kids himself. But I mean, we were set. We had winter stuff. I mean, and so he was like, fine, I will. And he took it. And then he came back and he was like, I'm really sorry. I had no idea how much stuff costs. I like, there was that onesie that you had with the teddy bear on it. That was like $35. And I just didn't know. And I'm really sorry. And you did really great. And I'm really sorry. And I love telling that story. And he doesn't talk to me about what I spent anymore. He's always like, I bet you got great deals. And I'm like, you bet I did, especially now that I'm volunteering, because we got even more back from consignment. And yeah. So that's always fun.
Well, I know Stephanie's favorite thing is inspecting. I don't know how that came about.
I did not volunteer as an inspector. It was just thrust upon me. I went in, I was so excited to be like getting my steps in and putting things out on the shelves. And Kim's like, no, I think you could be an inspector. And I've never left the table since then. I'm always at inspections.
She's got a good eye. I think we should put her over here.
Oh, yeah. That first weekend, it's like my arms are sore from doing the whole, okay, hanger. Yeah.
You do such a great job though.
When I am looking through my clothes at home, I have a lot of stuff that is in my pile to just get rid of, because I can see things that, it's like the armpits are a little bit pilly, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to get rid of this. No one wants to buy this. So I'm not as mean when I'm inspecting, but boy, stains I can spot like an eagle eye.
I remember you catching a couple of mine that I hadn't seen. And I remember being mad about it.
It's lighting. It's always the lighting.
I'm like, well, but it's not. Oh, now I see it. Fine. Kim, can I mark this donate?
Are you really
yes,
upset
I don't have
though?
to take it back.
Are you upset at Stephanie though? Are you upset at yourself that you didn't catch it?
Yes. Well, at first I was upset at her because, how dare somebody be right when I did wrong? But that changed as soon as I saw it and was like, oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah, we've had really good lighting for inspection for the past several sales, and it makes a huge difference, because having that sunlight and you
Sometimes
can spot
it's
things.
weird. Like I try to put the inspection tables in the place in the building where the light is best, like in the front. Sometimes it's not. We have to move it a little, but usually it's pretty good.
Well, yeah, but that's why the quality is so high.
Because we have good lighting, and I have good inspectors. I know who to put at the tables.
Totally.
Yeah, I had someone looking at my stuff one time, and I could tell they were, I didn't even realize they were looking at my stuff, and they held something up, and I looked over, I'm like, yeah, there's a hole in that. And they're like, they looked at me, it was my thing, and I hadn't seen it because it was a weird spot for a hole in a sleeve. But when she held it up, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a hole. And so she's like, okay. And she gave it back to me because I wasn't arguing with her.
Yeah. So we got Michelle mostly on registers and Stephanie doing inspection and maybe sort. And then Karen, you do mostly the other things, merchandising and hold area.
Yes, yeah, I started off, I think when I first started was merchandising because the organization, I love getting stuff out there, moving stuff around, and also getting the steps in. That was very handy. And then I don't know how I got into the hold area. That kind of weaved myself. I don't know what happened there, but I ended up there, and then that kind of became a go-to place. And I love it there because once again, kind of like Michelle, you get to see what people are putting away, and you get to see if your stuff comes back. Like, ooh, that's my shirt, or something. You see your stuff, and you're like, that's a really good idea, or kind of the same thing. And everybody's really excited and get have all this stuff out there.
Which is, it's great because you're if you like to organize stuff, like that's how your brain works. Some other people are like, I can't handle that. I can't do any of that. Look at me.
And also merchandising, I get to see stuff. I'm like, ooh, that shirt, or something. I'm not gonna hide it obviously, but I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Like if it's there when I come back, it's mine.
Merchandising was dangerous for me because I'd find too many things I wanted to buy. So I had to like specifically ask for an area that I didn't need anymore.
Yeah.
So like when I had a boy, I would work the girls section.
That's funny. That's not dangerous for me. You guys just buy it all. Like, oh, Stephanie needs to work the junior boys section now.
Yeah, it's
all
a hard
men's, huh?
sell on that one.
No, I don't think about that too hard. You guys are just going right through. My questions are leading into the next one. How do you react when you see a shopper buying one of your items or a whole bunch of your stuff? Michelle, you might see them come through your line. Do you get excited? Do you say anything?
Those poor shoppers. I'd be like, oh my God, that's one of mine. Oh, your daughter's gonna love this so much. My daughter. So she was wearing this when we were at the Oregon Country Fair, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, but at least it's got lots of good vibes in it, and I know you're gonna love it. And they're just like, okay. Can we go now?
Buying it.
We've been in line for an hour and a half. Can we go now?
Can we just go? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, here you go. Oh, by the way, can you guess what your total is? And they're like, and I tell them, and they go like, oh, well, all right then. Okay. Yeah. It's always a great way to end a transaction after I've made them bored. But you saved $400. Look at that.
Who knows how much you saved, right? Like, it's always awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I look at and I think I sold this like 2 sales ago and it's come back because it's like there's those little girl outfits that has the like the feet like that look like shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of the outfit, like for the little babies. And I see that, and I always see at least one that I know my daughter had, and she's now 11. So it's like, I think, oh, I wonder if that's the same one.
I've seen that too. I'm like, I swear my kid wore that shirt. It's coming through again. I don't know.
They're very like unique things, things that you're like, this is not like Gymboree or Old Navy or whatever. Like, I bought this here and it's back again. So I'm like, it was a good dress or whatever it was.
I always wonder if it would be funny. It would be funny to track an item like, I sold this and then I sold it to Michelle and then Michelle sold it to,
Oh,
Stephanie.
like
Stephanie sold it to
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or whatever that
It'd
movie
be
was.
funny to know where things went, and they're like back the 7th time. It's back for its 7th appearance at a pass it on sale.
I think it's more likely to happen with like the fancy clothes because they only wear them a couple times and they don't have time to get them dirty.
That's true, like a Christmas dress or an Easter type dress or something.
Just have like a
that would be so
for each
fun.
sale, like bought at this sale.
Or Halloween costume. How many years can you get out of Darth Vader or something?
Yeah, but then sometimes they'll wear it until they have a 1.5 foot of arms sticking out of the sleeves now, because that's all they want to wear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, here's a fun one. of the group here, who's most likely to like, comment, share all the passing on posts with their friends?
Probably Stephanie, because
Yeah.
I'm spotty. I'm
Well,
spotty
I
about
thought it would be you, Michelle.
No, I usually do, but I just like perimenopause and brain fog and I just
Aw.
like
I'm on Facebook a lot.
I'm on
That's what
Facebook,
you
but
see the stuff come, you click and share.
I just posted one last night saying, "Oh my God, I forgot to post this. The sale is on." Sorry, you all missed the pre-sale.
You guys are all good
Yeah.
about it. I know, because you're team leads and you get it. You get that, like, spreading the word is how we get people to come, right? You don't even know, like, when you share something to your own wall. I'm running the sale 16 years now, right? And I still have friends who've never been to the sale. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Really.
Kind of weird. Like, who live in town too. All right, which of you guys is least likely to wait until the very last day to enter your items?
I've started entering. I don't like waiting to the last minute because then I have all the taking to do, and I'd rather hit it at these other
See, I think it's
times.
Stephanie. Who's least likely to wait till the last minute?
Not
Is it
me.
Stephanie?
I need
Not
to get
me.
stuff done.
Is it
I'm
Karen?
a procrastinator.
No,
It's not.
no.
There's a reason
Maybe
I'm
the
not
week-
organized.
The weekend before, maybe, it's a process, and especially now with those kids in school, I'll be able to get more done at a time. But before it's time, I had to like stop touching things.
Like, no, you can't fit that anymore. It's going away.
Right? Yeah.
I like getting it all in boxes so that then I can just like have them stacked in the hallway and then,
Good for you.
take them down to the car and yeah.
This is like,
You should
done.
run a session on how to be like Stephanie. 'Cause
Yeah.
the three of us are not.
No, I could use that a lot, please.
Well, I go through
Thank
like stuff, I pull everything out, I sort by size and category, and then I go through each one and I like alternate the hangers per size and gender, and then I put them in boxes that they go with. And
But that's
And
what
then
the last week. You're working mostly during the last week.
I think I am, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
2 weeks, but not
I
up
don't
to the
even-
last day. I'm not like waiting until Thursday night.
And Michelle, you're like last week.
yeah, sometimes stuff has to go on the next sale because I have it ready, but I didn't get it put in. That's okay. I know there's going to be another sale, but yeah. Well, for me, like my kids are so hard on clothes and I don't know how to get the grease stains out because apparently napkins are not a thing and the food just goes right. And it doesn't matter what I do. It's, and if it's not stains, it's poking pencils through their shirt or why?
Yeah, I would reject anything with pencil holes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. So a lot of my stuff, a lot of the clothes, and I'm like, oh, this will work. Oh no, there's a stain. Oh no. And I'm like, no, Stephanie's just going to reject all that. So forget it.
Dish soap. Dish soap is the best for grease.
I have been working on that because I'm trying all kinds of stuff, but it's
We also
in there.
have Goo Gone. That seems to get a lot of stuff out.
Goo Gone. Is it
Goo Gone.
Dawn dish soap or borax or whatever that
Oh no, like Dawn kind of stuff. That's what
Yeah.
I use on grease because you can just kind of work it in and then you throw it in the washing machine.
That's a good idea. I mean, I have Dawn because I use it for the tie-dye.
Yeah, I mean any brand. I don't think it's just something that is meant to lift grease out.
That's, they're 13 and 11, and this is the first time hearing of that. So thanks.
There's my
Alright,
tip for cleaning grease stains. Yeah.
I have a bonus question, but maybe our bonus question should be what's your best tip for consigning? And there it is, Dawn dish soap. Okay, my bonus question was actually this, unless you want to do that one. Do you want to do that?
Oh.
one?
I mean, I'll talk about my bonus tip if you
Yeah.
don't want me yelling at you when you come through my register. But
Okay, what's your tip?
do not print your tags on holographic or reflective paper, please.
Don't do it.
See, because the scanner uses lasers to scan it, the little red light stripes you see.
Mhm.
And if it's reflecting off of the actual paper, it will not scan your item. And then I have to enter it all like by hand. And then there's a line and it's bad. So please, please just use cardstock.
Don't do that to Michelle. Don't do it. All right, that's a good tip. You got one, Karen?
Just for like the merchandising area, you know, when I'm putting stuff out, I know you on there about sizing, making sure to put numbers. Cause it's like, I don't know what a teen, 16, what 17 is. Like, I don't know what that is. Just put a number and it's tagging done goes a long way. Like no safety pins, don't.
You mean letter? Oh, you meant letter. Like small, medium, large for the bigger, for the adults and the juniors and stuff?
Right, yeah. Like
Give me a
they'll-
letter. I don't.
Right, but they'll put like a weird and like, oh, it's this. Like I'm holding it up going, this is not the size you say it is.
Mhm.
So, and then yeah, tagging done because it's like I'm having to you have to pull into the shirt tag and you're like looking for it and
And when you use the tagging gun, the little pointy part goes right in between the stitches on a seam,
Mhm.
especially if it's like the armpit or somewhere where there's 4 seams that come together. There's a very convenient little hole right in the center, which will very securely hold your tag and not poke a hole in the shirt, which will then be rejected by Stephanie because you shouldn't sell things with holes in them.
We don't want to make a whole extra holes. No.
and we want the tags to be super because when you're having because you're going through like hundreds of pieces of clothing and you're having to constantly try to dig to find the tag, if it gets like this is annoying. But,
Well, and your
Yeah.
stuff sells faster.
right.
If the tag is really easy, I mean, I'm sure probably everybody who's watching this, if they've shopped the sale, you'd be like looking at stuff and you can't find where the tag is and you just put it to the side. No, that one's annoying, right? Even
Right.
if it's something you really wanted. So think about that, when you're tagging, because the easier it is and the more consistent, like the instructions are really great. I mean, they've been really good for a few years, but they just seem to be getting better and better. As opposed to when I first started, like I didn't know what I'm doing, but the resources are there. But you'll get better sales as a consigner if you do that. Absolutely.
One of the other tricks I've seen is for like outfits that have a buttonhole or a belt loop. If you can't get a tagging gun through it, use a zip tie to attach your tag instead, but don't cinch it tight. Leave it loose and cut off the hanging part so that no one else can tighten it. And that way you can have it right dead center, where it can be found. Because yeah, that's one of those things that you don't think about, but you don't want to put a hole, especially when there's a lot of shirts now that don't have tags. It's like much better if there's a buttonhole to use that buttonhole as a resource for attaching to it.
Mhm.
Mhm. Or
So-
pant loophole.
And
Yeah.
The belt goes.
using don't use like they would put the safety pins to the belt loops onto a hanger and when it swoops down into a thing, like fine, they have the little dips in them usually for like straps, if you can get them in there, it doesn't slide. Or I use a lot of clothespins. That really
Binder
helps.
clips too.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
like-
binder clips are even more secure than clothespins because they're so bulky they can get knocked off.
True. I usually use the clothespins for like shirts, soft things. But yeah. Just
And
usually-
bonus, people like binder clips. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then the clothespins are less like an extra clip on there, like a bathing suit or something. It's just like, this
Yeah.
is not going to stay. And you don't want to put a hole in it with the safety pin.
You guys, this was great. I love where it went. All
I
right.
say we went a lot longer than you said we were going to.
oh, did
We
we?
did. All right,
Yeah,
well,
the thing is, you guys are fun to talk to and work with. So
I figured it would go like this. All right. Well, hopefully next week I'll get 3 different people to jump in and we'll have a whole different conversation. You guys can watch that one and laugh at those guys and see what they talk about.
that'll be awesome.
You didn't say everyone was going to mock us afterwards, Kim.
Oh no, they better not, right? But I'm just saying you guys can, see what they talk about, and I don't know.
Stephanie, how long have you known us? There will be mocking.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too
Then
much.
margaritas, mocking and then margaritas.
Right? We could have done one of these at the Margarita Factory if the times were different, but
In the before times.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know when after times is coming, Michelle, but well, I don't know.
Oh, well, I'm saving up my margarita coupons, or I don't know, my margarita wish list for that. So it's all good.
All right, well, I'm gonna stop the recording. I should have done that already, huh? All right, well, this is it. This is the goofy stuff you can get when you join the team or when you volunteer with us. You will work with one of us in some capacity, maybe, and we're happy to have you join the group. Even if you're just here for one shift, we'll show you what to do and make you feel like part of the team. And
not mock you until much you've been doing it for a while.
Please.
We never mock new people.
I'm gonna make sure I get all your stuff this year, Michelle.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, look, she used Dawn. I'm like, yeah, I did.
And it will smell good.
Right. All right, thanks, guys, and everybody else. Tune in next week and see what happens.